A guy was playing golf one day and he got lost. He saw a lady up ahead of him and went to her and said, "Can you please help me? I don't know what hole I'm on." She told him, "You are 1 hole behind me. I'm on 7. You're on 6. He thanked her and continued playing golf. Later, he got lost again. He saw the same lady and went to her again, kind of embarrassed. "I'm sorry to bother you again, but I'm lost. Can you please tell me what hole I'm on?" She told him, "You are 1 hole behind me. I'm on 14. You are on 13. Again, he thanked her and continued playing golf. When he finished, he saw her in the clubhouse. He went up to her and asked if he could buy her a drink for helping him out. She accepted. As they were drinking and talking, he asked her what she did for a living. "I'm in sales," she said. He replied, "No kidding, so am I." "What do you sell?" She responded that it was too embarrassing to tell. But after he kept pleading to know what she sold, she finally said that she would tell him if he promised not to laugh. He promised. She said, "I sell sanitary napkins." He immediately fell to the floor, laughing hysterically. She said, "You promised you wouldn't laugh?" He replied, still with tears in his eyes, "I'm sorry, but I couldn't help it. I sell toilet paper. I'm still 1 hole behind you." One day, a wife came home early and found her husband in their bed with a very attractive young woman. Naturally, she was very upset. "You are a disrespectful pig," she cried. "How dare you do this to me? I'm a faithful wife, the mother of your children. I'm leaving you. I want a divorce right away." The husband replied, "Hang on just a minute, so I can at least tell you what happened." "Go ahead," she sobbed, "but they'll be the last words you'll say to me." So the husband began, "Well, I was getting into the car to drive home, and this young lady here asked me for a lift. She looked so down and out and defenseless that I took pity on her and let her into the car. I noticed that she was very thin, not well dressed, and very dirty. She told me that she hadn't eaten for 3 days. So in my compassion, I brought her home and warmed up the enchiladas I made for you last night, the ones you wouldn't eat because you're afraid you'll put on weight. The poor thing devoured them in moments. Since she needed a good cleanup, I suggested a shower, and while she was doing that, I noticed her clothes were dirty and full of holes, so I threw them away. Then, as she needed clothes, I gave her the designer jeans that you have had for a few years, but don't wear because you say they are too tight. I also gave her the underwear that was your anniversary present, which you don't wear because I don't have good taste. I found the sexy blouse my sister gave you for Christmas that you don't wear just to annoy her. I also donated those boots you bought at the expensive boutique and don't wear because someone at work has a pair the same." The husband took a quick breath and continued. "She was so grateful for my understanding and help that as I walked her to the door, she turned to me with tears in her eyes and said, 'Do you have anything else that your wife doesn't use?'" An elderly man had owned his large farm in Louisiana for many years. Right at the back of the farm, there was a large pond that was ideal for swimming. The old farmer had fixed it up real nice with picnic tables, horseshoe courts, and some apple and peach trees. One evening, the farmer decides to go down to the pond to look it over, as he hadn't been down there for a while. Before setting off, he grabs a 5-gallon bucket, as he decides he'll bring back some fruit. As he nears the pond, he can hear voices shouting and laughing with glee. Clearly, someone is having a good time. As the farmer gets closer, he can see a bunch of young women who are clearly skinny dipping in his pond. He makes the women aware of his presence, and immediately they all swim over to the far end. One of the women then shouts, "We're not coming out until you leave, mister." The farmer replies, "Ladies, I didn't come down here to watch you swim naked or to make you get out of the pond." The wily old-timer then holds up his bucket and says, "I just came down here to feed the alligators." Robert, who is 85, married Jenny, a lovely 25-year-old. Since her new husband is so old, Jenny decides that after their wedding, she and Robert should have separate bedrooms, because she is concerned that her new but aged husband may overexert himself if they spend the entire night together. After the wedding festivities, Jenny prepares herself for bed and the expected knock on the door. Sure enough, the knock comes, the door opens, and there is Robert, her 85-year-old groom, ready for action. They unite as one, all goes well, Robert takes leave of his bride, and she prepares to go to sleep. After a few minutes, Jenny hears another knock on her door, and it's Robert. Again, he is ready for more action. Somewhat surprised, Jenny consents for more coupling. When the newlyweds are done, Robert kisses his bride, bids her a fond goodnight, and leaves. Jenny is set to go to sleep again, but you guessed it, Robert is back again, rapping on the door, and is as fresh as a 25-year-old, ready for more action. Once more they enjoy each other, but as Robert gets set to leave again, his young bride says to him, "I am thoroughly impressed that at your age you can perform so well and so often. I have been with guys less than a third of your age who were only good once. You are truly a great lover, Robert." Robert, somewhat embarrassed, turns to Jenny and says, "You mean I was here already?" 3 nuns passed away and went up to heaven. They were pleasantly surprised when St. Peter informed them that in exchange for their many years of servitude and chastity, God himself was going to bestow upon them each one wish. The first nun blushed and said, "This is slightly embarrassing, but I have to admit, while I did love serving the Lord, the vow of chastity was really tough on me. May I return to Earth for a weekend of unbridled lust with the face and body of Angelina Jolie?" St. Peter said, "Your wish is granted." Poof! She disappeared and returned to Earth to fulfill her fantasy. The second nun agreed and said, "I'd like the same, but may I return with the face and body of Jennifer Lawrence?" St. Peter said again, "Your wish is granted." Poof! Away she went. The third nun, an Italian girl, nodded her head in agreement. "I too would like the same, but may I return with the face and body of Alice Gann Pippellini?" With a confused look, St. Peter replied, "I'm sorry, sister, but I do not know of her. Is she a famous starlet?" The sister squealed with excitement. "Oh my, yes, she is. She's the most famous one of them all. Look at this article I've been saving for years." And with that, she reached into her pocket and pulled out an old, yellow, folded-up newspaper article, which she handed to him with shaking hands. St. Peter slowly unfolded the paper and read the headline aloud. "Alaskan pipeline laid by 500 men in 1 week." Subscribe to the channel. This is important. It will help me continue my work.